Hello from the Travel Tracker. Today's Travel Tracker tip is going to focus on the Export, the Reports tab, and we're going to look at the dashboard. Now, once you have exported the data from your Travel Tracker, you will land on the Export, and you will land on this first tab called Assignments. Notice there are 6 tabs. The third tab is the dashboard, and that's what we're going to look at today. So let's click on the dashboard. The dashboard contains graphs which show the data using pie charts and bar graphs. The information in the graphs include the cost information and the mileage information. Now, when you first open your Export, you're going to see the cost information. If you would like to see the mileage information in the graphs, you need to set that using this drop down. Notice up here at the top is a tiny drop down. You can see the word dashboard, and then if you click, and you can change it from the cost information to the mileage information, and then you will see your graphs for miles rather than cost. Once you have set the dashboard to show the right data, you're going to want to reduce the zoom on your graphs. So come down to your slider and click a couple of times to reduce your view here so that you can see the graphs and the slicers here on the right. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Now notice that we have 2 bar graphs. The first one shows miles by location. Remember, this could also show cost by location depending on how you've set your drop down. Then we have miles by date or cost by date. Then we have 2 pie charts. We have miles driven in the first pie chart. If you have it set to cost, it's going to be cost by the trip type. And then we have the last pie chart is total miles, and if you were looking at cost, it would be the total cost by trip type. The first thing I want to tell you about the graphs is that you can copy and paste them onto a PowerPoint or another document. It's very easy to do. You're going to simply just hover close to the edge of the graph that you want to copy and paste, right click, click the copy, and then take that and click into your PowerPoint or your document and click the paste option, and that will pull that graph and copy it over onto your document. You can resize any of the graphs. Notice again, once I've clicked on it near the edges, then I have the little pull dots here. I can make it smaller. I can pull and make it larger. I can grow it tall. I can grow it shorter. You can move it around. If you click on the edge, you can pick it up and move it. Now notice that my graph is behind this other graph, you can see. So if you'd like to move it forward, you can do that. We're going to just click on it. And then notice our options up here at the top. We're going to go to Page Layout. And then if you look to the right, there's Bring Forward or Send Backward. If you click on the drop down there, you can bring it to the front, the one that you've selected. Now when we come back down, we click, and there we have it in the front. So we can move it around. If you want to put it back in the back, then you would simply click the Page Layout and move it to the back. Page Layout, Send Backward, send to the back, and there it moves it back again. Bring it back forward or move it back. Let's resize it, put it back smaller again, and all I'm doing is clicking and holding. I'm just clicking and holding and dragging, and that's helping me to resize it. And any of your graphs work the same way. Now let's talk about these slicers over on the right. Slicers are like filters, and they will filter the information on your graphs and change what your graphs are showing. So Your first filter, your first group of slicers are the locations in your graphs. And right now you're looking at all the locations in your data, but you can use these slicers for location to only show certain locations. Maybe you would like to do some comparisons. So if we were to click and change our locations, then we would affect what we see in our miles by location. In order to select particular locations, you simply click on the name of the location to select it. And so here I've picked one school and now I see its bar. Now if you want to choose multiple locations, use your control button on your keyboard. Hold it down to choose a second location, and then again hold your control key down to choose the third location. And so you notice as we are choosing our high schools, for example, and to make some comparisons about the miles driven per high school, we are seeing different information on our graph. Once you have decided what to do with that information, maybe you're going to paste that graph into your report, you can clear that information in the upper right corner. Click on the little filter and it will bring everything back to showing all your information again. Now, all of your slicers affect all of the graphs, but there may not be information in all of the graphs. So for example, location is not a valid piece of data in the miles by date. So that graph's not going to change if we use the location and change those. But it would change if we used our dates. So here is our date filters. And again, this works the same way. You can choose just one particular date, or you can choose multiples. Again, we're going to use our control and we're going to click on the dates that we want to compare. And then notice our graphs again change. Now our miles by location changed as well because we're only showing mileage for certain dates at each location. And then our miles by date changes, so we're looking at the graph for the dates. Let's reset our filter for dates and choose all of them. There is a trip type filter. So maybe you only want to see information about athletic trips. So you can click on that one and then notice our filters change. And so we're able to see the athletic trip mileage for each of our location, the athletic trip mileage for each of our dates. And then this pie chart shows the mileage driven each month. Let's reset our dates and our trip types. You also have a filter for the vehicle type and the vehicle number. Now let's take a look at some of the information that we can find in our cost data. So I'm going to zoom large so that I can see my drop down. We'll click and change it to cost rather than miles. And then let's zoom back down. Now we're seeing cost by location, cost by date, cost by trip type, and cost by month. The slicers work the same, we just have different data. So now if we would like to compare cost by the vehicle type perhaps, we can use our slicers here and only pick a certain type of vehicle and change our data on our graphs and be able to see that information. We can look at a different type of vehicle here. And of course you can compare and more than one filter. So this is just looking at one vehicle type, maybe on one type of trip. So then we've got that information. So this is looking at our yellow buses on field trips. Maybe you want to compare dates. What was your yellow bus use for the past month, for the past 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? And again, that'll show us different information on our graphs. Notice that you have a print charts button. If you click the print charts button here, it will send your page view here to a printer. And then you also have a button to show your zeros and your negatives. So if you have any negative amounts, it will include that in your view. So I hope you have found this little tip helpful as you are working with the dashboard in the export. Thank you.